There is a door in the Arctic that nobody is supposed to open. It sits on a Norwegian island called Svalbard, 1,300 kilometers from the North Pole. The temperature outside drops to -20 in winter. There are more polar bears on this island than people. And somewhere in the frozen rock of a mountain, behind a steel door covered in permafrost, is the largest collection of agricultural seeds ever assembled by human civilization. 1.3 million seed samples, representing every food crop humanity has ever cultivated, stored at -18 degrees, designed to survive anything. War, pandemic, climate collapse, the end of organized society as we know it. This is the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, and it was built for a scenario we all hope never arrives. The scenario where someone, somewhere, needs to start again. But there is a problem with the vault that nobody wants to talk about. A problem that was discovered not in a catastrophe, but in an ordinary year. A problem that gets to the heart of what it actually means to preserve something for the end of the world. The vault was opened in 2008. It was designed as a passive facility. No permanent staff. No active cooling systems needed. The permafrost would do the work. The natural cold of the Arctic would keep the seeds viable for centuries, possibly for thousands of years. The designers were not wrong about the physics. They were wrong about the permafrost. In 2017, 9 years after the vault opened, water flooded the entrance tunnel. Not from rain, not from a pipe failure, from melting permafrost. The frozen ground that was supposed to be the vault's passive cooling system was thawing, faster than the models had predicted. Because the Arctic is warming at approximately 4 times the global average rate. The water did not reach the seeds. The entrance tunnel sloped downward, and the water refroze before it got there. The seeds were safe. This time. But the incident revealed something about the vault's fundamental design assumption. It was built for a stable climate. It was designed to preserve seeds against the consequences of climate change. And it was being undermined by the same climate change it was designed to protect against. The uncomfortable part. The Svalbard Seed Vault is a backup. This is what everyone who manages it will tell you. It is not the primary collection. It is a safety copy. The primary collections are the gene banks that exist around the world, in the countries where these crops were developed, where the knowledge of how to grow them and use them lives alongside the seeds themselves. Here is the problem. Those primary collections are the ones that have been failing. The gene bank in Iraq was destroyed during the 2003 invasion. The gene bank in Afghanistan was looted during conflict. The gene bank in the Philippines was damaged by a typhoon and then by a fire. The gene bank in Egypt lost significant collections due to funding failures. In 2015, the first ever withdrawal from the Svalbard Vault was made by the International Center for Agricultural Research in the dry areas, whose Syrian gene bank had been destroyed by the civil war. Syria's agricultural heritage, seeds that represented thousands of years of farming in one of the earliest agricultural regions on Earth, lost to war, recovered from a vault in the Arctic. The vault worked exactly as intended, for exactly the kind of disaster it was designed for. But here is the thing nobody discusses when they celebrate this. The seeds came back. The knowledge did not. Seeds are not food. Seeds are potential. to become food they require soil, water, climate, and above all the accumulated knowledge of generations of farmers who knew how to grow them. Which varieties grow well in which conditions, which need specific soil treatments, which are resistant to local pests, which taste good and which do not. This knowledge is not stored in Svalbard. It cannot be. It lives in the hands and memories of farmers. And farmers, unlike seeds, cannot be frozen and restored. When the Syrian gene bank was destroyed, the seeds were recovered. The farmers who knew how to grow them were scattered across refugee camps. Some died. Some stopped farming. The connection between the seed and the knowledge was broken. Svalbard saves the seed. It cannot save the farmer. And without the farmer, the seed is a data point without context. The map ends here. The territory continues. The vault now has active refrigeration. After the 2017 flooding, the Norwegian government invested in drainage systems and cooling equipment. The passive design was abandoned. Human intervention is now required to maintain conditions, which means the vault is now dependent on electricity, maintenance, and functioning institutions. Exactly the things it was designed to survive without. This is not a failure. It is an honest adaptation to reality. But it changes what the vault is. It is no longer a passive monument to human foresight. It is an active project that requires ongoing commitment from the same civilization it was designed to outlast. There are currently 1.3 million seed samples from 6,000 plant species in the vault. New deposits arrive regularly. The collection grows. And yet, simultaneously, agricultural biodiversity is declining in the fields. The number of crop varieties actually grown by farmers around the world has decreased dramatically in the last century. Industrial agriculture favors uniformity. Thousands of local varieties adapted to specific conditions over centuries are disappearing from actual cultivation. Some exist only in Svalbard now. Others exist nowhere. We are archiving biodiversity at the same time as we are eliminating it. The vault is growing while the fields it represents are shrinking. What does it mean to preserve something? Is a seed preserved if it exists in a vault but is no longer grown? Is a language preserved if it exists in recordings but no one speaks it? Is a tradition preserved if it is documented but no longer practiced? The Svalbard Vault is the most serious attempt in human history to answer this question in practical terms. And the answer it is arriving at is uncomfortable. Preservation without continuation is a different thing from the living version. It is better than nothing. It is not the same as the thing itself. The door in the Arctic will be there after the internet fails, after the power grids go down, after the institutions that maintain it are gone, if they go. It will outlast most of what we are currently building. Inside it, 1.3 million possible futures are waiting. Each seed a potential harvest. Each harvest a community fed. Each community a civilization beginning again. The problem is that a seed is only a beginning. Someone has to be there to plant it. Someone has to know how. Someone has to care enough to try. The vault answers the question of whether the seeds will survive. It cannot answer the question of whether we will. That one is still open.